This conference will now be recorded.
Hey, good morning. So yesterday we seen what deployment group, and also we also seen how to create a virtual machine. Right now we'll complete this setup today, basically the CD pipeline setup. Okay, and tomorrow onwards we'll get into some other configurations of this CD as well. So for that, let's go to our Azure Cloud portal.azure.com. As I mentioned yesterday, I already created three virtual machines. Okay, there is no difference in the configuration what I shown yesterday. It's the same configuration, but to save the time, I created in advance. I log in. I created them and I kept them in. I stopped them basically. When you stop it, basically, you will have less expenses. When it is starting, if it is taking 10 rupees per hour, if it is in the stopped mode, it may take 2 rupees per hour. Okay, you can go to the virtual machines. You can see these are all the servers I created. Front end server 1 QA, front end server 2 QA, and front end server 1 production. So I basically create I'm going to demonstrate for two environments. There will be minimum two environments, right, in any company. That's the reason I taken two. So more than one is anything multiple, right? Okay, so we will try to deploy our code to uh, the two servers in the QA environment and one server in the production environment as well. You can see all the details here. I am using pay as you go subscription, means I am paying it for what I am using, and the production server is in the prod resource group. As I told you, this is only for categorization purpose and billing reporting purposes, basically nothing related to technology or technical things. Okay, and in the QA, I have two servers, QA resource group. All are in the East US location. I stopped them. Okay, and all are with the same size. This is what we selected yesterday. Okay, B2MS. Okay, public IP address, etc. are empty here, but when I start it, I will get a dynamic public IP address. When I stop it, it will go off. If I preserve this public IP address when I'm stopping the server, right, I have to pay extra. That's why I'm not preserving this IP address. Okay, now let's go and start it. Before while I am talking about some other concepts, these machines will get started, and we need to do some configuration as well on the machines. Okay, let me go ahead and start these servers one by one. How do you start it? Simply go to the machine. Okay, you have all the options here: start, stop, etc., etc., delete, and everything. We will see all of these things. This is what all you selected while you are creating the virtual machine. You can cross check this color. Okay, just start it. It is starting the virtual machine. So let me refresh here. Yeah, it started basically. Let me start the other one on the left hand side. Click on start. It is starting. Basically, you can see the status. It is starting. Let's go on to the production one as well. It is stopped, right, as of now. Status. Click on start. Now if you refresh, it is starting. Okay, while the machines are getting started, let's go ahead and do some work basically. Let me go to the Visual Studio. We have our project, right? Our Your Journeys project. So in our master, we have only one project. You remember we added another project in the dev only. Okay, in the master we have only one project, that is a web basically, and the associated unit test cases. I don't want to again go and merge all those things with pull request from dev to master, master etc. That is one reason. The other reason is we are doing this demo from the other organization where you don't have all the branches. So repos you already know, so I don't want to uh, do it again. Let me add one more project here. Okay, I want multiple projects. That's the reason. Okay, so same ASP.NET. Go here. I'll call it as a microservices. Anything you can name anything, but I just wanted to have some APIs as well. Okay, say create. Sorry, new project. I did not read that one. It's the same, right? C colon. It is going to the same. Yeah. Services. The project directory already exists, and a project is it must be placed within a new folder of the same. Choose a different name or look. It's already exists. That's what it is saying. Let me undo this. So let me explore this. Open folder in File Explorer. Yeah, it is. It's already there, but it is not showing me here. Here it is not showing me. Why? Are there any pending changes? Team Explorer changes. Thing right? No changes. You can see commit all is still there. Let me delete this, or else let me. You can say there is nothing here. Let me delete this. Not sure what is happening. It's a very old one. Let me delete it. Okay. Web API. I don't want just a web API. Okay. Web API is the API projects in .NET. Okay. Let's go and create. Okay. Let me build it once. Build solution to ensure that there are no compilation issues here. It's not your work, okay? Because I need to add it for the demo. I'm adding it, okay? And let me run this. I can Okay, so this is API project. I made it as starter project. That's why it has come up. You can see the APIs. These are the APIs available in that sample project basically. Okay. So, but let's not worry. So why I'm showing you this, when I deploy this, you need to see the same thing on the servers as well. That's the reason. Okay. So now let me push it to our team explorer. Okay. Changes. You can see now the entire project has come. New project added. Guys, I think we enabled continuous integration on the on this one, right? Let me disable this. Okay. What is that? Dev.azure.com online reservation system pipelines. Go here and edit. Go to triggers. Okay, it's not there. Okay, we newly created this right day before yesterday. Okay, okay, good. Let me go ahead and commit and push. Okay, done. So I have the projects what I required. Now let's go ahead and do the release pipeline basically. Uh, let me run this. Hopefully the code is here. Just let me check one more time. Yeah, I have this microservices. Okay. Now go to pipeline. Just run this one time. Windows Server 2019. Run this. Okay. So while this is going on, let's go ahead and create a release pipeline. Okay. Click on releases, new pipeline. Okay. So we need to deploy to IIS, right? IIS. Many options are here, right? As I shown yesterday, we are deploying to our task is deploying our ASP.NET application to IIS. So select IIS website deployment. Rest of the templates are for deploying databases as well, which we don't use it mostly. Okay, let's name it as a QA. Stage name as QA. Okay, and we need to add an artifact, right? As I shown yesterday, quickly add it. As I shown yesterday, we go with the build type. Our artifacts are getting generated from build, so we'll select the build. Okay, let's quickly select the build pipeline name and say always take the latest version. You can take a specific versions as well here, but I always take the latest version. You can give some alias if you want. Okay, that's it. Add it. Now get into this task. This is where we stopped. Okay, we need to have the deployment. We need to have the target servers, right? That's the one. And at that time we went to this deployment group option and we created a deployment group called QA. Okay, but in this deployment group we don't have any servers, right? If you go to the targets, there are no servers in this deployment group. So though I given a deployment group as a QA, since there are no servers, it cannot deploy to anywhere basically. So we need to have the target servers in the deployment group. So I created these machines, right? uh, these two machines. I will configure these two machines to be part of the deployment group QA. So that means in my QA environment, I have two servers for application deployment. So first let's log into that one to configure this server. So let me close this. First, I will take my front end server one QA. Take this and to log in that use this IP address copy. Uh, go to run say mstsc It is remote desktop basically. So copy paste that IP address and then say connect. Guys, if you are in the login credential, right? If your VM is or your server or your laptop, anything is part of your company domain, obviously you will give a your domain slash your user ID, right? Okay, let us say you belong to TCS. It might be TCS slash your user ID, right? Because that is a domain. That is the domain that you connected to. Since we are not connected to any domain, we have to give like this dot slash and the user ID. Asura 86. This is my user ID. Yesterday I given. Okay, I given my password. I am just putting remember me option so that next time I don't need to give that. So this is this scenario is when you are required to st- start from scratch. Means you are given a fresh server and started configuring your server as well for the deployments. But most of the times you already have the server setup and everything. Okay, but you never know, right? There will be scenarios as well like this. Okay, let it load. Let me log into other server as well. Front end server to QA. This is one, this is two. Okay. And let me take the IP address. Go to MSTSC, paste it. I'm using the same credentials for this one as well. Okay. Okay. So while this 228, the IP address ending with 228, right? While this is loading up, let's go to the other server. Okay. Let me collapse all these things. 78 is already, you can see the 78, right? This is the first server. Okay, so we need to have the prerequisites. The prerequisite is the IIS, right? You need to have the IIS and .NET framework and some website configured, virtual application configured in your IIS. These are the prerequisites for any deployment, right? Let's go and check if the IIS is available. You can go to run and then you can check for inet mgr, right? Inet mgr is the shortcut to open IIS. You can see no results found, means there is no IIS here. Okay, even you can check, there is no results. Okay, that means you need to install the IIS as well and you need to install the .NET framework as well. Okay, so basically when you log into any server, Windows Server 2019 anything, this server manager will come basically. Yeah, I mean, even if someone closes it, you can go and search for server manager, it will come. Okay, this is where you can see these features in the dashboard. Okay, we have to go and add some roles and features. See, before 2016 versions, etc., etc., you need to go and download IIS manual and install it. I mean, older versions. But from the last 5 6 years, all those become part of your dashboards. You can simply go and select and install it. Rest everything is taken care by your server I mean, background basically. So let's go and create a add roles and features. Next, role based or feature based installation. So so I'm going to install some features. It will show all the servers. Basically, our server administrator will also create a pool of servers as well. Okay, so I have only one server in this pool. Okay, don't worry about the server administration. That's not your work. Okay, you need to know your prerequisites only. Okay, so in this list of available features, select IIS here, web server IIS. Okay, add feature. I selected this web server IIS. Go to next, and here I need to select .NET framework as well. Okay, so we are using ASP.NET 4.7, which is the latest version. And if you are having some older versions of .NET as well, I mean, there is a pretty much possibility, right? You will have legacy applications as well, which are running on the older versions. If that is the case, you need to select these things, .NET 3.5. If that is the case, then 2.0 and 3.0 version .NET Framework version applications also will work. 2.0, 3.0 means these versions, released, I guess, in 2008, etc. Okay, 2007, 2008. It's a pretty old. Okay, but since it's our latest, click on this ASP.NET 4.7. Okay, and that's it here. And then say next, next. In the web server, there are many options available. Okay, but these are the default things that we needed. uh, Even when we log in, you can see all these options right in the IIS default browsing, directory browsing, HTTP errors. We see all these features in our IIS. I showed you in our local laptop, right? So I'm not the see, if it is a production server, most of these things will be checked in basically, because you need to have the tracing, means what is happening, etc. You need to have the logging, all that stuff. But I'm not doing any one of those things. Dynamic content compression, it is to improve the bandwidth performance, etc. I talked about it. So in the security, just select basic authentication, Windows authentication, and then we are not going to use any one of this, but whatever you select here will be appeared in the authentication section of your IIS basically. Okay. Uh, then say you expand this application development. In this application development, you need to select your ASP.NET 4.7 one more time. This is prerequisites for your .NET. If it is not there, then you will get an exception. That's it. ASP.NET 4.7. Okay, you are all done basically now. So you selected a web server IIS, and then you selected ASP.NET framework, and inside that, for application development, whatever is required, we got that one as well, ASP.NET 4.7. Now you got all the requisites. Click on next, install it. It will take couple of minutes to complete it. Let it go. Let's go to other server. From 78, let's go to 228. Okay, this is a fresh server, right? Here also you will not see IIS. You can check for it. No results. Okay, close this. Add roles and features. Next, next. Now I'm not talking about all those things. I will directly select all these things. Web server IIS. Add features. Next, and then expand this .NET Framework 4.7. Select ASP.NET 4.7, and then say next, next. And in this last page, uh, just for our understanding, I am selecting some of these authentication mechanisms, but we are not going to use any one of these. Okay. And then under application development, as I said, select ASP.NET 4.7, because this is our version of framework that we are using for our development. Next, and then install. Okay, while it is going on, let's switch back to the other server. It might have been completed. It's 228, right? Let's go to, it is still going on. So I have the IIS setup ready. Once it is done, after that I need to configure the server to be part of my deployment group, so that my release pipeline can deploy the code to this IIS. Okay, let's you can see feature installation succeeded. Okay, close this, close this window as well. Now let's go and check the IIS, inet mgr. Now you see this, you got it. Same thing, right? There is no difference. You will have your server name. Under that you have the apples. Okay, and then you have the default website. As I shown, it will not contain anything. You can go and add your own websites as well, and this is what you see. Uh, there will be no difference, right? Okay, now what I wanted to do, let's go ahead and add a virtual application here to deploy our content. Okay, so add virtual application. I will give a name as uh, what I say. You can give your journeys. Physical path. I don't have anything as of now. What I do, I'll just go and create an empty folder basically. Okay, C colon a network www root. Under www root, I'll say let's use the same name everywhere to avoid confusion. Okay, that's it. It doesn't have anything. Okay, and app pool, you can select your default or classic or .NET 4.5, or you can create your own as well. Okay, for the timing, select this because we need an integrated mode. If you don't want to use that, because many people might be using it, go to the application pool, right click, add app pool, and you give your name, your and then yeah, this is the version, and in mode always should be integrated. Okay, that's it. If you want to now change, if you want to map this app pool with your journeys, you can map it from here itself. So you can go to advanced settings. uh, I think I have to do from here. Okay, sorry for that. Right click, manage, advanced. Yeah, in this app pool, instead of .NET 4.5, you can select your own, your journeys. So, okay, so I have my website ready with IIS. Okay, let's do the same thing on that server as well. 228. See, remember, it doesn't matter how many servers you have in your environment. All the servers should have the same configuration. Most of the times, your deployment fails when you move from one environment to other environment because of the configuration inconsistency. When I started the session, I given the introduction why we need DevOps, etc. One of the issues is environment inconsistency. It means different servers will have a different configurations. Okay. Uh, Now go for inet mgr. You have the IIS now ready here as well. Okay, front end server 2. Okay, since we want to create a new app pool, go ahead and create an app pool. Say your journeys. Yeah, this is .NET integrated. Okay, see now 0 applications here. Now go here and create a new virtual application. Journeys. Select your journeys. Map it to the physical path. This is important. Create a new folder. Your journeys. Select it. Done. Now this is also configured. Now if you want to see the content, there is nothing, right? Go and explore it. So here there is nothing because we haven't deployed anything. Okay, we will deploy it using our CD pipeline. Okay, now let me delete all this. Sorry, close all these things. Okay, this is our physical folder in 228. So my IA setup and websites are set up. Let's go and explore it here as well. Let me close the IIS. Okay, now I need to configure my deployment group basically. So how do I do it? First, here, let's go ahead and open PowerShell. PowerShell. So search for PowerShell, you will get this PowerShell ISC. Select the Windows PowerShell option here and right click and run it as administrator. The reason I am doing it, run it as administrator, because I'm going to run the scripts which requires administration access because it will change some of the configurations on your server basically. Okay. I've opened that PowerShell window. Now you don't need to know the PowerShell for the time being. Okay. Go to deployment group. So in the details section, so you remember when we come here, you will get this script, isn't it? Okay. All you need to do is you need to add a personal access token as well to this, as I said, and copy the script. This is one way. By some reason, if you don't find this, what you can do, you go to the targets. There are no targets. You can click on register as well. Okay. Again, the same window will come. Okay. All you need to do, select the Windows operating system because we are going to add our Windows server to this deployment group. Okay. Use personal access token, copy script to board. Okay. Now there are no targets here, right? You can see. Now let's go ahead. 78 machine. Right click. Simply right click. It will be pasted here. Okay. It will contain all the information what is to be done in order to make this server part of our deployment group. You can see our organization URL and then the personal access token that is generated here. You can see. Okay. And what software to be downloaded here and to get installed, etc. Okay. Let's click on this. I just pressed enter. It may take a minute or so. See, this single script is going to make all the firewall changes required and attach this system with our deployment group in the release by Azure DevOps basically. All those things will be done. So if this is not the case, what happens? You need to have the server administrator to make server changes like a firewall settings, etc. You need to have the network administrator to allow the ports between the Azure DevOps platform and your server. All these things have to be done, which takes weeks and weeks as well. Okay, it is saying, hey, enter deployment group tags for agent. That is a different concept. I'm not doing it now. Press enter for no. I'm pressing enter. Enter user account to use for the service. Press enter for NT authority / system. See, there should be some account that to manage your services on the server, right? Either you can use your administrator credentials or this is the system user ID basically. This contains the least privileges. See, the principle in any the principle of security is, use a least privileged account for your servers so that if something happens, someone hacks it, your account, they cannot do much on your system when you use a least privileged account. This is a least privileged account. NT authorities as system. I press enter to use this, and this is common for any software. Okay, you install any software, we do the same thing. And again, I got one more question. Enter whether to prevent service start immediately after configuration is finished. It is asking, hey, would you like to restart your machine after this configuration is done? Press enter for no. I don't need it. Okay. But best practice in our Windows or in any server configuration, right? Restart it. But that's okay. I'm doing demo. It will not hamper. Okay. Because I know it basically. Okay. Now the server is configured to be part of my deployment group. Let me minimize this and close this one. I can refresh. Let me refresh it, then you will see. You see, now you can see the front end server one, which is part of now your QA deployment group. See now how I am syncing, how I am in sync in Azure DevOps portal, Azure portal as well. I created a resource group called QARG and added that server to that group basically. Here also I'm using the same terminology so that we know basically what servers are in what environment. You don't need to maintain any Excel sheets here. Okay. Now if you go to the details, okay, you go to the targets, you can see nothing is deployed yet. Okay, I want to add one more server basically. Okay, that is front end server 2. If you click on deployment group, so basically when you come to the deployment group, this is where you go basically. I have QA deployment group. I have one server which is online. Nothing is deployed so far. I want to add one more server. Go to QA environment or QA deployment group. Again, click on register. Okay. Click on use personal access token. Copy this script and then go to our next server 1390 228 basically. Open PowerShell with administrator permissions. Right click, run as administrator. Once it is available, simply right click in this window. You get all this required information what you copied. Press enter. So from weeks time to minutes of time basically to configure a server uh, to be attached to your CD pipeline servers basically. I'm not adding any deployment groups. Press enter for now. Use a NT authority system. I am fine with this. Press enter. Now it is saying you want to restart your machine. No. Press enter. That's it. Now let me minimize this. Minimize this server. Close this window. Now you see front-end server 2 is also added. No deployment set. Go to home page here. Now you see 2 servers online. Nothing is been deployed to 2 servers. So that's how you can create a deployment groups and add servers to your deployment group. Now I have deployment group ready. Okay, with 2 servers. Go here, our release pipeline. Okay, you already selected here QA. Okay, and there are no other deployment groups here. Okay, and you can rename this one as well. I mean this agent deployment group name. Let's say web deployment if you want, means to just give a meaningful name basically. You can see it is changed here. Okay, okay, and rest targets to deploy in parallel. You can deploy to multiple machines in the same time. So we selected it. It's all about performance. Okay, uh, maximum number of targets in parallel, etc. Right now it is I selected multiple, that's why it is giving me this option. Guys, I don't have a credits etc here as well, so that's the reason I cannot make it, I cannot give it more than that. It will go in sequence basically, deployment to all the servers. Okay, obviously timeout is something, it is a traditional thing. If you when you click on deploy, okay, what happens, if it takes more time, then you have to fail the build due to, I mean, reasons can be anything, right? Your network issues or anything. So if you say 1 minute, then obviously it will wait for 1 minute and it will fail the build. Okay, and go to the artifacts download. This is the artifact we selected in our box basically in the pipeline, right? Whatever the one you selected here will be shown here. So it is showing me all the artifacts you see in the drop folder. These are all the artifacts I have. So I have microservices and I have your journeys web zip as well. Okay, because in my solution I have 2 projects. Okay, 2 projects, that's the reason 2 zip files. Okay, but I'm not going to use microservices.zip to deploy to my server, right? I'm going to use your journeys web.zip because this contains my front end code, but I will configure it in that different task. Okay, so this is a regular one. Run this task only when all previous jobs have, as I told you, each and every task will have this option. Okay, now go to IIS web manage. You will have a 2 tasks like this, IIS web app manage and IIS web app deploy. Guys, I am using it from the template, but I will recreate from scratch as well to deploy our microservices project as well. Okay, for the time being I am using as is. So the task name is IIS web app manage. It's already, IIS is already there. What is the configuration type? Basically this is now grading because it is inheriting these details from the top, actually from the parent. I said here and it is IIS configuration type. That's the reason it is changed. If you want to change it, you can click on this bangle symbol. If you see, this is linked to your configuration type, what you done here basically. If you whatever you change here, it will be updated here. Okay. And action also, it is earlier it is used to allow me here as well to change it. I think now it is disabled. If you want to change it, you have to go to your parent stage and then change it basically. Okay. And then website name, you give whatever you want, or you can go with the default website. That is also configured here on the top here. Now the physical path, you see, as I told you, the default is www root. That's why it is already taking. It is taking system drive, because you never know, right, whether it can be C drive or it can be D drive. That's the reason it has used system drive variable basically. But our ultimately our physical path is in the www root. Okay. And this is the one we selected in our IIS configuration as well when you created that virtual application. Okay. Guys, I created the application pool manually, right? If you want to create application pool on the from this pipeline as well, you can create it. Create or update app pool, configure authentication, etc. We'll do it tomorrow. These kind of things. Okay. For today, we'll go with basic things. And this is all what you see in our IIS settings, because these are all IIS tasks. I'm not doing any additional commands here. And control options, output variables is there for every task. This is a management related task for the IIS. Now this is a deployment related task for your IIS. That's the reason you see IIS web app deploy. You have the default website. Now you need to give the virtual application name what you created there. Give as it is, your journeys. This is the virtual application name we created, right? You can see description here as well. Okay. And then here it is showing, what is which package you want to deploy. It is giving star.zip. No, I have many zip files here, right? Because I have more than one project. You need to select your whatever you want to deploy. Click this, click this, click it. I want to deploy my your journeys web into my virtual application in that website, default website. That's it. Guys, I am not going to talk about these things, file transformations, etc. This I will do it tomorrow again. Okay. That's it here. Let me save this. Okay. Now what is going to happen? My configuration is completed. Okay. Basic configuration. Now if I go and click on create release, okay, the expectation is that the artifacts in your journeys web.zip should be copied to your your journeys folder under www root on both of the servers. Okay. And your application should be up and running after that copy, and some of the activities that your task will take care of. Okay. Let's go and click on create release. So you will get this kind of window, which stage you want to start from. I have QA. The moment I selected QA, you can see the stages for a trigger. This is a manual trigger. The stage is displayed here, and this is what you selected. This is the latest version, of your build pipeline. So you can go and check your build pipeline as well, right? Click on this build pipeline. It just 31 minutes ago it is done, right? So whatever you see here is what you see there basically. This is the latest version. You see 2021 10.20.1, right? The same version you see. Okay. Say you can give some description, whoever is triggering this build, deploying journeys web code. Whatever, some meaningful description. Click on create. So this is a manual one, right? We triggered it manually. Release one has been created. Click on this. Release one. See, we created a release basically, but we did not trigger the deployment. This is manual. That's the reason when you click on the create release, it will create the release, but it will not deploy. You need to go and click on the deploy. But if it is completely automated, you don't need to do this one. For the time being, let's go and click on the deploy. Okay, deployment, pick it off. You can see all the information here as well. What is there? Okay, work items. If you associated any work items, we did not associate. We did all that stuff in the other organization project basically. We don't, since we don't have parallel jobs, we came here. Okay, just click on the deploy. The moment you deploy, you can see the logs as well. Click on the logs. It's happening now. We see two servers that are there in my QA group. That's the reason it is showing two icons here. You can see front end server 1, front end server 2. Okay, and both are in progress. If you want to see the further logs, next level of logs, click on this, any one of this. Click. Now you see, oh, looks like the servers can be, I mean, deployment can be parallel to the servers. Okay, but the if you have different jobs, it cannot be done. Okay, now in both of the servers, the deployment is happening, you see, and in the server 2 as well. Oh, it's successful. Both are successful. All the tasks are executed. Okay, if you want to see in one case, go to release 1, QA succeeded, go to logs. This is how we see. If you have 10 servers, it will show 10 icons. If something is failed, it will show you failed basically. 2 succeeded, 0 failed, 100% passed. If you want to see the logs, you can come and see these logs. Okay, now let's go and check 78. You can see the code here. You see, just now it is deployed. Earlier it was empty, right? You can see this is a US timing. That's the reason it is showing this one. You can see the clock here. The code is deployed here. Artifacts. Okay, let's go and check. Open IIS. Default website, your journeys. Let's go and check our stuff basically. Browse. Oh, I have this Internet Explorer, right? By default, Internet Explorer will comes. Man, this is a hectic basically. Okay, I have to say all this. Ask me later. This is a problem in IIS. Okay. Good that it only asked me a couple of times. You see, the web UI is deployed here. Guys, you can access this from your laptop as well, because I'm using public IP address for this server, right? 13. I should be able to access it from outside as well. 13.9. Okay. Anyways, I can copy this IP address. QA1, right? Copy this IP address. Go here. This is a public IP address. It should be available here. So this is from my laptop. Because my server is having the public IP address, I can access it from outside basically. Okay, and this is 78, right? And the other one is 228. Okay, let me copy that front end server QA2. Take this IP address, copy this, open another window, http colon say your journey. So is our website name, right? Sorry, our application name under default website. If you have, sure, it's completed, right? So this also should come basically. You got it? So to both of the servers, the code or the artifacts have been deployed using the deployment group option. Now now you understand, it doesn't matter how many servers are there in your environment. Simply add all those servers to your deployment group uh, by giving a specific name. You have 100 servers in QA environment, create a QA deployment group, add all those servers to your QA environment. And in your release pipeline, all you need to do is mentioning your sorry, edit this, mentioning your deployment group here. That's it. So before this deployment group, what used to happen, we used to command specify the IP addresses individually, IP address 1 2 3 4 like that. Many of the times what happens, we miss some, or we do a misplacement of the servers. Sometimes we may give a dev servers as well in the QA, because you have to take it from some Excel sheet, from emails, etc. Now everything is visual. So someone can come and verify what are all the servers in the QA environment, and are all those part of a QA deployment group or not. All these things are now online. Everything is visualized basically here. Okay. So what scenario we covered now? We have a n number of servers in a given environment. In our case, it is a QA environment, and we deployed our web application into all of those servers. That is the scenario one. The scenario two is, hey, when you develop some application, it's not just a web application, right? You will have your APIs as well. You will have some some middleware components as well. There might be a number of projects, and they all not run from the same server, right? They will run on different servers. See, uh, ideally in any company, we will deploy all the front end code in one server. We will deploy the APIs on the different servers. Okay. And even for front end servers, you will have the load balancer, because if one server goes down, other server will serve the purposes basically, I mean user request. Okay. We're not going to the load balancer concept because we are into DevOps, right? Now I'm going for another scenario. The scenario two is, hey, I have two different applications in my two different projects in my application. One is a APIs project, which basically contains all the list of APIs that will be consumed by your front end application, right? So this is a typical one, right? I mean, wherever you go, you will have the APIs. So you have a web front end deployed in one server, and APIs deployed in other server, and obviously they will communicate with each other, right? Now I want to do it in one release itself. I want to deploy my front end code into server one. uh, uh, I want to deploy APIs into server two. But how do I specify? You might have a, again, as I said, you might have a 10 servers or 20 servers in your environment, right? And how people uh, uh, need to I mean used to maintain, they open that Excel, front end server one, front end server two, etc., etc. If this is for a front end deployment, where I mean web deployment, they will keep they will name it as a web. They will have another column, and if it is API, they will tag it as a API like that. And they do it manually, all these things. But here you have that luxury of uh, having it automated here. What I'm going to mention now, I'm going to use this tags option. If you remember, when I'm deploying the, when I'm running the deployment group script on the server as well, it asked me a tags option. I did not give any tags. Now I'm going to give a tags here saying that front end server 1 is for web. Okay. Front end server 2 is for API. So like this, if I have 100 servers, okay, click on save this please. Once you do it, now I am giving tags to each and every server saying that, hey, in my deployment group, these 5 servers are for the front end code. These 5 servers are for the API code, etc. And if you have any other categories, you can go and tag them like that. Okay, guys, any doubts so far before I continue?
No,
Hello.
Purna, I'm fine.
Okay, so let's get into our what is this front end server 2? What is the IP address? It's a 228, right? Let's log into 228. Go to IIS, inet mgr. So right now you have your journeys, right? Let me go ahead and do add application. API is also web, right? It is accessible over internet, right? API, your journeys, select physical path, iNetwork, www, click API. That's it. Say I want to deploy API code into only to this front end server to into this API. But for the demonstration purpose, to show you the difference, I'm going to create the same thing on the other server as well, in 78 server as well. Go to 78 server. Here, right click, add application, API. It is to differentiate, because you need to know that whether it is working as per expectation or not. Okay, your tags basically, your journeys, www. Click on API. Okay, okay, okay. Let's go and explore this one so that you see that content. Right now, this is empty, right? This is empty. Go to 70, from 78. Go to 228. Here also, let's go here. Explore. Here also it is empty. It is 228 server. Okay. Now the expectation is that I have given this you know tags basically. Okay. Based on the tags, my code will be deployed. Okay. Go to release pipeline. Now if I go and say okay, actually I need to go ahead and add one more agent here. So deployment agent. Okay. Web deployment, right? Similarly, I have to add another deployment groups job here. Click on here, add a deployment group job, and I name it as a API. Okay, and I select the deployment group QA only. But here you see now two matching targets available. Earlier this, I mean, if you go here, earlier it was not showing like this. Okay, what I'm going to mention here in this web deployment group, in this configuration, I give the tag as a web basically. Okay, and if I go to API job, I give a tag as a API. The moment I mentioned, you see here, you can see one matching targets in QA deployment group. Here also, when I given web, no matching target means I given a wrong name basically. What is that here? Web only, right? Web. Why it is showing no matching targets? It's a QA only, right? Okay. One target, matching target. Now it is changed. I think it is slow in rendering the content. One matching target. Okay. That means whenever I deploy the code, though there are two servers in this QA deployment group, but it identifies the tag as web. The code of this your journeys web will be deployed to only front end server one, where because it is tagged as web. It will not deploy to front end server 2 basically. I will demonstrate that tomorrow because we are already 8.5. We'll continue this scenario tomorrow as well. How you can deploy your different projects into different servers in the same deployment group by using tags basically. Okay, this is a very useful one for any company or for any project basically. Easy to manage. So for today, I will stop it here. This scenario will continue tomorrow with some other advanced options. Guys, any doubts?
No, no. Yes.
Okay.
No, Purna.
So as I told you, I'm using my own money. That's the reason what I'm going to do. I'm going to stop all these servers before I, go for that. So I'm saying public IP address will be lost if this VM is saved. I say, hey, do you want to preserve? I will preserve this IP address like this. Otherwise, I'll say cancel. Stop it. I don't want to preserve it. Okay. Because it cost me public IP address. Each and everything is a cost here basically. Okay. Stop the server 1 as well. Okay. And stop the server 2
So,
as well.
Purna, if we stop the server, it means it was not being in use and you won't be charged, right?
Yeah, no, no, we will be charged for the storage, etc. Because it is stopped, but still you are having this image somewhere else on the server, right? I mean, on the Azure cloud. Only for that purpose it will be charged. But CPU, memory,
Okay.
etc., that will not be used, right? That's the reason
Yeah.
your cost will come down. Let us say when I created yesterday, you saw right, 6 rupees 70 paise per hour, right? Then it will become probably 50 paise per hour because you are using it only for storage. I mean, you will not get
Okay.
into that granular level of details, but you will get the reduced price. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Now you see everything is stopped. You see, I did not preserve the IP address; it is gone as well. Okay. But in general, you have to preserve the public IP address because on this IP address, many other dependencies might be running, right? Okay. Okay, guys, that's it for today. We'll continue tomorrow with any other things. Okay.
Okay, Purna, thank you.
Thank you. Hey, please stop me if you are having any doubts anytime. Okay. Now we see two servers offline. It is showing the status as well, you see, because I stopped both of the servers in this queue group. It knows that basically it will do the status checks as well. Okay. Okay. Thank you guys.
Thanks.